in sexual reproduction, male and female gametes fuse, resulting in the formation of organism. So in higher animals, males and females are separate. So this is called sexual dimorphism. So sexual or sex determination is done with the help of gonads, and sexual differentiation is with the help of hormones. So males and females can be differentiated with the help of hormones, and sex is determined with the help of gonads. So students, today we are talking about human reproductive system. This is human male reproductive system. So let us find out what are the different structures in the male reproductive system and their functions. So first, male reproductive system includes gonads. Male gonads are called as testes, which are called primary sex organs. One pair of testes are present. Next, there are accessory ducts. So this forms secondary sex organs which play a role in conducting the sperms. So these includes vasa efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens, ejaculatory duct, and also in the reproductive system, male reproductive system, there are glands like seminal vesicles, prostate gland, and Cowper's glands. Then the male copulatory organ called penis. So let's start with first male reproductive organs. First male gonads are called testes. In human male, a pair of testes are present. So testes are 4 to 5 centimeter in length and 2 to 3 centimeter in width. So testes descend out of the abdomen into a special hairy sacs called scrotal sacs or scrotum. Next, so testes descend into the scrotum through inguinal canals. The passage is called as inguinal canal. Through this inguinal canal, testes descend into the scrotum. Now, testes are connected to the scrotum by a fold of fibrous cord. We call it as gubernaculum, and testes are connected to the abdomen by spermatic cord. So the spermatic cord consisting of vas deferens, gonadal arteries, that is spermatic arteries, spermatic veins, nerves, and lymphatics all are enclosed in a connective tissue fold. So this is what we call spermatic cord. Spermatic cord also passes through the inguinal canals and gets connected to the abdominal wall. Next, so testes before birth, right, during the embryonic stages, testes descend into the scrotum. Failure of the testes to descend into scrotum is called as cryptorchidism. So that becomes abdominal testes. They may result in malignancy. If the testes remain in the abdomen, it may result in malignancy. There are some mammals where abdominal testes are present. Example is elephant. In elephant, abdominal testes are present. But whereas there are some other exceptions, whereas in most of the mammals, testes are present outside the abdomen. What is an advantage? In human, by placing the testes outside the abdomen, the temperature is reduced to 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius. Temperature is reduced. So this is an ambient temperature for the spermatogenesis to occur inside. Next, so the surgical correction of cryptorchidism is called as orchiopexy. Fine. Next, so testes are one pair present in the scrotum. Now when you completely study in detail about the testes, right? So now let us find out the structure of the testis inside. Before going to it, few points that we'll discuss regarding the scrotum. Scrotum is lined by muscles internally. There are dortus muscles as well as cremaster muscles. These muscles have some specific function. Dortus muscles are like they are temperature sensitive. So they are involved in maintaining or regulating the temperature inside the scrotum for testes. Like during the winter season, during the cold conditions, the scrotum, I mean these muscles help the scrotum in contraction. During warm climates, the muscles will relax. This is the function of the dortus muscles, and these dortus muscles help in regulating the temperature. Next, cremaster muscles are also present lining inside the scrotum, and these cremaster muscles help in elevation of testes in the scrotum. So remember, these muscles are present inside the lining of the scrotum. Fine. Next, coming to the testes. So when you see the section of the testes, what are the different layers present? Look here. Testes are surrounded by 3 layers. Outermost layer is known as tunica vaginalis. So the entire part which is marked with red is tunica vaginalis. Now this tunica vaginalis is in turn arranged into 2 layers. This is the outer layer, this is the inner layer. The outer layer is called as the parietal layer and inner is called as the visceral layer. In between that is the space, there is a cavity also present. This is the outermost layer which is called tunica vaginalis. Just below it, the entire green part is tunica albuginea. It's made with dense white fibrous tissue. Next, inside this, it is lined by tunica vasculosa, which is blue in color. So the tunica albuginea is internally lined with tunica vasculosa, which is a vascular coat or a vascular layer. So these are the 3 layers lining the testes. Next, if you go further inside the internal structure, inside the testes, there are testicular lobules. So these are called as testicular lobules. All these are testicular lobules. So how many are present? So testicular lobules are around 200 to 250 testicular lobules are present. These are lobules, testicular lobules. Now the interesting part is, inside these testicular lobules are present seminiferous tubules. These are seminiferous tubules. So approximately each lobule has 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules. Just to make you people clearly understand, so in some lobules I just made 1, in others I made 3. So the maximum number of seminiferous tubules in each testicular lobule is 1 to 3. So in each testis, the number of testicular lobules are 200 to 250. So you can calculate as 250 into 3 in that way, right? So all these are seminiferous tubules. Fine. What is their function? What are they for? Right. Now let us find out a section of the seminiferous tubule. In the seminiferous tubule, let us take up a section of it. If you just take a section of the seminiferous tubule, this is seminiferous tubule. Now the interesting is that inside the seminiferous tubule, this is one, this is the other. Like that, so many seminiferous tubules. Now seminiferous tubules are lined by 2 types of cells. There are some cells which are called as cuboidal cells, which are all black in color. Next, in between, these are columnar cells which are blue in color. And these cuboidal cells are called germinal epithelium. And these germinal epithelium of the cuboidal cells are responsible for formation of sperms. So initially they will form spermatogonia, which is diploid sperm mother cell. That spermatogonia becomes a primary spermatocyte. Later it becomes a secondary spermatocyte. Third, it becomes a spermatid, and from spermatid the spermatozoa or sperm is formed. So these cuboidal cells are involved in formation of sperms. Whereas the columnar cells present in between them, these columnar cells secrete Sertoli cells. Now these cells are very important. They play several roles. Let us find out few functions of these Sertoli cells. First, number 1, the Sertoli cells are called as nurse cells. They are nourishing cells. They provide nourishment to the spermatozoa initially. Next, these Sertoli cells are responsible for phagocytosis of dead spermatozoa or immature spermatozoa. Number 3, they are responsible for making androgen binding protein. They will concentrate the testosterone levels. Number 4, they are responsible for making anti-Mullerian factor, because Mullerian ducts will form oviducts. They should develop in female, so they prevent. So Mullerian hormone is also produced. Anti-Mullerian factor, anti-Mullerian hormone is produced by these Sertoli cells. Next, Sertoli cells also secrete inhibin, which will inhibit the FSH levels. And what is the role of this FSH? Why it has to be suppressed? You will study in gametogenesis. FSH levels are decreased by inhibin. That inhibin is secreted by Sertoli cells. So Sertoli cells perform all these functions. So fine. Now when you see seminiferous tubules, inside this seminiferous tubule, this is one seminiferous tubule section. So seminiferous tubules are now making sperms as well as the Sertoli cells. Next, so in between the seminiferous tubules, these are the blood vessels. We call them as interstitial cells. And these interstitial cells are called Leydig cells. They make androgens. The principal androgen in male is testosterone. The hormone is produced here. So now understand the importance of seminiferous tubules. The seminiferous tubules are now everything. Seminiferous tubules are responsible for making sperms. Sperms are formed inside it, and Sertoli cells, which are performing several functions, and also androgens are also produced there. Right? Now these testes are present inside the scrotum. Next, so all these seminiferous tubules, so finally sperms are formed in the seminiferous tubule. So all these seminiferous tubules leads into straight ducts, and these are called as tubuli recti, and all these tubuli recti opens into reti testes. From reti testes arises vasa efferentia, which are 10 to 20 tubes. These 10 to 20 tubes or vasa efferentia arises from reti testes. That means the sperms which are formed in the seminiferous tubules are carried to the tubuli recti, from there to reti testes, from reti testes to vasa efferentia. Sertoli cells are not going to move. So sperm will detach from Sertoli cell. Only sperm will keep moving. Right? So sperms enter into all these vasa efferentia. Now all this vasa efferentia opens into highly folded or convoluted structure, which is known as epididymis. Now this epididymis is highly convoluted structure, and this epididymis is divided into different regions. The anterior most part of it is called as caput epididymis, and the middle is called as corpus epididymis, and the posterior is known as cauda epididymis. So sperms start moving all the way from here to the epididymis. Now the role of epididymis store the sperms for several weeks. So when once the sperm leave the male body, its lifespan is for few hours, but sperms can be stored inside the body for several weeks. So in the epididymis, sperms are stored, and also maturation of the sperm occurs inside the epididymis. So this epididymis is present very close to the testes, and these structures are located in the scrotum. Now from cauda epididymis arises vas deferens. Now all the way vas deferens ascends, see, just come back here, all the way the vas deferens from the scrotal sac ascends into the abdomen. Vas deferens ascends into the abdomen all the way, and then it coils around the ureter. Both vas deferens of both sides ascends into the abdomen and coils around the ureter and opens as a wider part which is known as ampulla. This wider part is called as ampulla. Just we'll stop here for a while and we'll come back. Now let us find out few things. Epididymis, the wall, and as well as the vas deferens. The wall is lined by two layers. One of the layer is with the circular muscles and one more is the epithelium. Epithelium is the inside and circular muscle is outside. And these muscles provide propulsion for the movement of the spermatozoa into the abdomen. Sperm is not going to utilize its energy here, and sperm move by the propulsive movement of the muscles present in the vas deferens. Right? Please keep this point in your mind. So fine, this is ampulla. Now ampulla of vas deferens joins with seminal vesicle. This is seminal vesicle. Seminal vesicles are one pair. So joins with seminal vesicles, and this junction is known as ejaculatory duct. Junction is known as ejaculatory duct. So ampulla of vas deferens joins with seminal vesicles on both sides and forms ejaculatory duct. So now the sperms are here. Now we'll come back to that again. Next, coming to the glands. These are the glands like seminal vesicle, prostate gland, Cowper's glands. So let us find out some points regarding the glands. First, seminal vesicle. So seminal vesicles are one pair, right? So first, before going to the seminal vesicles, let us find out a few basic concepts here like this. Like sperms plus the secretions of glands. There are three glands in the male reproductive system. One is seminal vesicle, second is prostate gland, third Cowper's glands. These are the three types of glands. So these three glands secretions is known as seminal plasma. It's called seminal plasma. So sperms plus seminal plasma makes semen. Clear? So sperms plus seminal plasma makes semen. So let us find out what is exactly the seminal plasma consisting of. First, seminal vesicles. Seminal vesicles are one pair, and these seminal vesicles secrete seminal fluid, because in the seminal vesicles there is a glandular tissue. So that glandular tissue is involved in secretion of seminal fluid. So this is seminal plasma. Remember, the entire gland secretions is called seminal plasma, and exclusively the secretions of the seminal vesicle is called as seminal fluid. And the seminal fluid contributes 60 to 70% of semen. In the semen, the contribution of the seminal vesicles is 60 to 70%. And what is it principally contains? Seminal fluid principally contains fructose. It has fructose and also prostaglandins, citrates, inositol, etc. Just remember fructose and citrate, sufficient, right? And what is the nature of this seminal fluid? Alkaline in nature, right? There are two, one here, one here. Next, just below this, prostate gland. Prostate gland is only single. It is chestnut shaped gland, and prostate gland contributes 30% in the semen. In the semen, prostate gland contribution is 30%. What does the prostate gland is composed of? The prostate gland is with calcium and phosphate. Calcium and phosphate. And also some fibrinolysins are also present. We have last Cowper's glands. Cowper's glands are also known as bulbourethral glands. This Cowper's glands or bulbourethral glands secretions are alkaline. They are responsible for neutralizing the acidity of urethra and also lubricate the penis. So these are the three glands, and Cowper's glands are one pair, seminal vesicles are one pair, and prostate gland is one. So the number of glands in the male reproductive system are 5, and types of glands are 3. One is seminal vesicle, prostate, and Cowper's, and number is 5. One pair of seminal vesicle, one prostate, one pair of Cowper's glands. So all the gland secretions make seminal plasma. Sperms plus seminal plasma makes semen. Next. So all the way fine. Now what all these ejaculatory duct, this ejaculatory duct now joins, this is a bladder, with urethra and form urinogenital canal, which is known as urethra. So let us find out the parts of the urethra. The anterior part of the urethra where the ejaculatory duct joins. This part of the urethra is called as glandular urethra. This glandular urethra is the prostatic urethra. Then it is membranous urethra. Membranous urethra is the smallest part of the urethra. Then remaining entire part of the urethra which runs all along the length of the penis is called as penile urethra. And this opens at the tip of the penis as urethral or urinogenital orifice. Right? So this is how the sperms are formed. So this is testis. Inside the testis there are seminiferous tubules. In the seminiferous tubules, sperms are formed, and these sperms enter into tubular recti. From tubular recti go to retitestis. From retitestis to vasa efferentia. From vasa efferentia to epididymis. All the way from epididymis, it's vas deferens, and both vas deferens open as a wider ampulla, and they joins with the seminal vesicles and form ejaculatory duct, and this ejaculatory duct continues into urethra. Right? This is a passage of the sperm. Next, so coming to the male copulatory organ, penis. Penis is the male copulatory organ. Now penis is lined or internally covered with 3 columns of muscles, whereas the anterior 2 columns of muscles are called as corpora cavernosa and 1 column of corpus spongiosum. Now this is called the tip of the penis, which is called glans penis. The tip of the penis or glans penis is with foreskin, which is called as prepuce. Now on the prepuce are present some specialized glands which is called as a Tyson gland. The secretions of this Tyson gland is smegma. Right? Next, the glans penis. So what all these 3 columns of muscles are present? Into the tip of the penis called glans penis, only corpus spongiosum extends. So in the middle of this corpus spongiosum you can see urethra. Now there are blood spaces between the muscles. During sexual excitement, the blood is filled in these, making the penis erect. The erectness of penis is because of these muscles. So that's the reason these muscles are called as erectile muscles. So during ejaculation, human healthy male releases 3 to 4 ml of semen, which contains 200 to 300 million sperms. if you take 1 ml of semen, approximately it should have 20 to 120 million sperms for a healthy individual. Next, out of these 200 to 300 million sperms, at least 60% sperms should have a normal or a proper shape and structure. Out of these, 40% sperm should have good motility rate to fertilize the ovum. Guys, that's all. This is about human male reproductive system.